Daf Yomi, Tractate Menachot, page 28b. Last four words of 28a are Tanur Rabbanan Kol HaKelim. And then we'll go to our daf for the day, 28b. Tanur Rabbanan Kol HaKelim. The sages taught in the Brayta all of the vessels, 28b. She'asa Moshe, Ksherim Lo Ksherim Adoyres, Chatzais 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 Chatzais. All the vessels that Moses fashioned were fit for his generation and were fit for future generations. Yet the trumpets that Moses fashioned were fit for his generation but were unfit for future generations. The Gemara asks, what is the reason that the trumpets were unfit for future generations? If we say that it is because the verse states, make for you two silver trumpets. Numbers 10 verse 2, meaning that they are fit for you, but not fit for future generations. That is difficult. If that is so, then the verse, make for you an ark of wood, Deuteronomy 10:1, should also teach that the ark is fit only for you, but not for future generations. This cannot be the halacha, as the Brayta stated explicitly that all vessels other than the trumpets were fashioned by Moses were fit for future generations. Rather, the term for you that is written with regard to the fashioning of the ark should be understood either according to the one who says that for you means for your own property, or according to the one who says that God said to Moses, I desire, as it were, that the ark be fashioned from your property, more than I desire that it be fashioned from the property of the rest of the nation. See Yoma 3b. Accordingly, here too, with regard to the trumpets, the term for you should be understood in this manner. The Gemara responds, there, with regard to the trumpets, it is different. As the verse states, for you twice, make for you two trumpets of silver of beaten work, you shall make them, and they shall be for you for the calling of the congregation. Numbers 10, verse 2. Tani Rav Papa de Berei de Rav Chanin, Kame de Rav Yosef. Benoiro, Hoysaba, Benoeshes, Benazov, Vasar, Shel Kesef, Keshero, Shel Baatz, Shel Abor, Shel Gistron, Rabbi Posel, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, Shel Etzem, Shel Schuchis, Divrei Akol, Bisula. The Gemara relates Rav Papa, son of Rav Chanin, taught a Brayta before Rabbi Yosef. The candelabrum could be fashioned from a complete block and from gold. If one fashioned it from silver, it is fit. If one fashioned it from tin, or from lead, or from other types of metal, Gisteron, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi deems it unfit, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda deems it fit. If one fashioned it from wood, or from bone, or from glass, everyone agrees that it is unfit. Amarle, my datach. Amarle, bein mar klali prati darashi. Rabbi Yossi said to him, what is your opinion if the explanation of this between Rabbi Yehuda and between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, Rav Papa, son of Chanin, said to him, both this sage and that sage interpret the verse, and you will make a candelabrum of pure gold, of beaten work. Will the candelabrum be made? Exodus 25:31. By means of the principle of generalizations and details. The verse begins with a generalization, and you will make a candelabrum, followed by a detail of pure gold, which is then followed by a generalization. Will the candelabrum be made? According to the hermeneutic principle of generalizations and details, this teaches that any item that is similar to the detail is also deemed fit. Mihu mar savar ma prat mefurash shel mateches av kol shel mateches mar savar ma prat mefurash davar chashuv av kol davar chashuv amolei smidi dach b'kamedi. But one sage, Rabbi Yossi son of Yehuda, holds that just as the item mentioned in the details clearly defined as a type of metal, so two other types of metal may be used in fashioning the candelabrum. And one sage, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, holds that just as the item mentioned in the detail is clearly defined as an item of substantial value, so too all items of substantial value may be used in fashioning the candelabrum. Rabbi Yosef said to him, "Remove your braita in light of my braita. Titania, kol shoresh yoson shaleit, Rabbi Poisel, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Shema, Michael Mifnegi, Rabbi Dorish, kol librati, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Dorish, Rabuye, Ute." Rabbi Yosef continued, as it is taught in Braita with regards to temple service vessels that one fashioned from wood. Rabbi Yehuda honestly deems them unfit, and Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, deems them fit. According to this Braita, their dispute was with regard to a candelabrum fashioned from wood, not from metal. Rabbi Yosef explains, with regard to what principle do they disagree? Rabbi Yehuda interprets verses by means of the principle of generalizations and details, and Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, interprets verses by means of the principle of applications and restrictions. Rabbi Dorish klali prote v'yossi menoiras klal zov toir prat miksha teaseh menoira chazar v'klal klal uprat uklal I atadan ela ke'en haprat ma haprat b'poer shel mateches av kol shel mateches. Yehuda Hanasi interprets the verse, and you will make a candelabrum of pure gold of beaten work. Will the candelabrum be made? Exodus 25:31 by means of the principle of generalizations and details. And you will make a candelabrum of is a generalization, as material candelabrum is not specified. Pure gold is a detail, limiting the material exclusively to gold. And then by stating of beaten work will the candelabrum be made, the verse that makes a generalization. The result is a generalization, a detail, and a generalization, from which you may deduce that the verse is referring only to items similar to the detail, leading to this conclusion. Just as the item mentioned in the detail is clearly defined as a type of metal, so too all other types of metal may be used in fashioning the candelabrum. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Dorish, Rabuye, Ute, V'sis Menoiras, Riba, Zohov, Zohir, Miet, Miksha, Teaseh, Menoiro. Chaz v'riba miet v'riba kol ma umay Rabbi kol milei umay miet shel cheres. By contrast, Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, interprets the verse by means of the principle of applications and restrictions. And you will make a candelabrum of is an application, as the material of the candelabrum is not specified. Pure gold is a restriction, limiting the material exclusive to gold. And then stating, and then by the saying of beaten work will the candelabrum be made, the verse repeated and amplified. There is a hermeneutical principle that when a verse amplified and then restricted and then amplified, it amplified the relevant category to include everything except the specific matter excluded in the restriction. And what did the verse include? It includes all materials, even wood. And what did the verse exclude with the restriction? It excluded a candelabrum fashioned from earthenware, which is the furthest in quality from gold. Adirabi, smidi dagmaka didi, lo so gedai tanya, lo zav maybe af shel kesef, shel nechois shel barze, shel bedir shel feres, Rabbi Yossi Yehuda Machshir af sheretz. Rav Papa, son of Chanin, said to him, on the contrary, remove your braita in light of my braita. Rabbi Yosef responded, that cannot enter your mind, as it is taught in another braita, if the one who is fashioning the candelabrum has no gold, he may bring even a candelabrum made of silver, of copper, of iron, of tin, or of lead. Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, deems it fit, even if it was fashioned from wood. It is evident from this braita that the dispute pertains only to a candelabrum fashioned from wood. And Rabbi Yehuda he agrees that it may be fashioned from other types of metal. Tanya idach lo yaseh adam beis tavni seichon achsadra keneged ulam chotzer keneged ezod shulchan keneged shulchan menor keneged menorah aval lo ysehu shel chamisha v'shel shisha shel shmoina shel shiva lo yaseh v'afilu misham minei matachois. And it is taught in another braita, a person may not construct a house in the exact form of the sanctuary, nor a portico corresponding to the entrance hall of the sanctuary, nor a courtyard corresponding to the temple courtyard, nor a table corresponding to the table in the temple, nor a candelabrum corresponding to the candelabrum in the temple. But one may fashion a candelabrum of 5 or 6 or of 8 branches, and one may not fashion a candelabrum of 7 branches, and this is the halacha even if he constructs it from other kinds of metal rather than gold, since the candelabrum used in the temple may be fashioned from other metals. Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda omer, af sheneitz lo yaseh kederech shasu malchei beis chashmonai, amru lo mishamayah שפודים של ברזל היו וחיפום בבאס העשירו הסום של הכסף חזרו והשירו הסום של זוף. The price continues, but Yossi son of Yehuda says, one may not even fashion a candelabrum from wood in this manner that the kings of the Hasmonean monarchy did in the temple. The candelabrum used in the temple in the time of the Hasmonean kings was fashioned from wood. The rabbi said to Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, you seek to bring a proof from there. In the time of the Hasmoneans, the candelabrum was not fashioned from wood, but from spits, shapudim of iron, and they covered them with tin. Later, when they grew richer and could afford to fashion a candelabrum of higher quality material, they fashioned the candelabrum from silver. When they again grew richer, they fashioned the candelabrum from gold. Amar Shmuel Mishmei de Saba. גבוה של מנורה 18 טפחים, רגליים בפרק 3 טפחים, והטבחה עם חלק בטפח שבו גביע וכפתור ופרח, וטבחה עם חלק בטפח כפתור. Shmuel says the name of a certain elder. The height of the candelabrum was 18 handbreadths. The base and the flower that was upon the base were a height of 3 handbreadths, and 2 handbreadths above that were bare. And there was above that 1 handbreadth which had a goblet, knob, and flower on it. And 2 handbreadths above that were bare, and there was above that 1 handbreadth that had a knob. ושני קונים יוצאים ממנו אחד אילך ואחד אילך נמשכים אוהלים כנגד גבוה שמלך וטבח חלק וטבח כפתור. שני קונים יוצאים ממנו אחד אילך ואחד אילך נמשך מאוהלים כנגד גבוה שמלך וטבח חלק וטבח כפתור. ושני קונים יוצאים ממנו אחד אילך ואחד אילך ונמשכים ואוהלים כנגד גבוה שמלך וטבח עם חלק נשתיירו שם 3 טבחים שבהן 3 גביעים וכפתור ופרח. And 2 branches emerge from the knob, one toward this direction, one toward that direction, and they extend and rise up to the hand height of the candelabrum, and 1 handbreadth above that was bare, and there was above that 1 handbreadth that had a knob, and 2 branches emerged from the knob, and one toward this direction and 1 toward that direction, and they extend and rise up to the height of the candelabrum, and 1 handbreadth above that was bare, and there was above that 1 handbreadth that had a knob, and 2 branches emerged from the knob, 1 toward this direction, 1 toward that direction, and they extend and rise up to the height of the candelabrum, and 2 handbreadths above that were bare. There then remained 3 handbreadths in which there were 3 goblets and a knob and a flower. Gemin koisos Alexandriim kaftorim lamahin domin gemin tapuchei kareitiim פרחים למענים דומים כמין פרחי עמודים נמצאו גביעים 22 כפתורים 11 פרחים 9. And the goblets of the candelabrum, to what are they similar? They were like Alexandrian goblets, which were long and narrow. The knobs, were they similar? They were like the shape of apples of the Cherethites. The flowers, to what are they similar? They were like ornaments that are etched in columns. And there are found to be a total of 22 goblets, 11 knobs, and 9 flowers on the candelabrum. Givin ma'akvin zeze, kaftoirim ma'akvin zeze, prochim ma'akvin zeze, givin kaftoirim prochim ma'akvin zeze. With regard to the goblets, the absence of each prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah with the others. With regards to the knobs, the absence of each prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah with the others. With regards to the flowers, the absence of each prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah with the others. With regard to the goblets, knobs, and flowers, the absence of each prevents fulfillment of the mitzvah with the others. The Gemara asks, granted, there were 22 goblets on the candelabrum as is written, and in the candelabrum 4 goblets made like almond blossoms. Exodus 25:34, and it is written 3 goblets made like almond blossoms in one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 goblets made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a knob and a flower. So, for the 6 branches going out of the candelabrum, Exodus 25:33, therefore the candelabrum contains 4 goblets of its main shaft. To be continued,